B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach. Shiur Torah. We are back in our Tuesday night shiur to do our Igeret Ramban. We only have one, maybe two. I think one or two lectures left in the series. B'ezrat Hashem, maybe more, 1, 2, 3, something like that. Maybe we'll even finish it before the Chag. We'll see. The shiur tonight will be for Refuah Shlema for Levana Bat Sarah, Rav Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah Bat Anat, David ben Nesriya, Doris Bat Jora, Stefan ben Katarina, Katarine Bat Aizel, Lior Tovia ben Chaya, Simcha Bat Sarah, Esther Bat Tzipora, Dvora Bat Mercedes, Serach Bat Batya, Batya Bat Sarah, and all of Am Yisrael B'ezrat Hashem will have a Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, Refuat HaGuf. So we have our Igeret Ramban. We have last week the Ramban gave us some instructions of how to deal with this coronavirus. He already knew 800 years ago about corona because he gave us instructions, but this week he's doing it again, but a different aspect of the coronavirus. Now the situation is not improving in the world. Last I checked, the mark was we broke over 400,000 people that were tested positive for this virus. Hashem Yishmor V'Yatzil. The number of dead people, I believe, was either 16 or 18,000 people worldwide. The number of sick people in the United States has gone up tremendously. The number of cases has gone up tremendously. And that's not the worst news. The worst news is that all of those numbers are a lie. All of those numbers are a lie. And the reason why is when you get to know people from all parts of the world, you get to talk to them. And they tell you things that the news doesn't tell you. So for example, in California, there is a person I know that in the medical business, nurse, and her husband has coronavirus. But he only has all of the symptoms of coronavirus, but he doesn't know for sure. Why doesn't he know for sure if his wife is a nurse? Because they refuse to test him. They don't want to test him. They're not testing everybody. In fact, they're not testing most people. The reality is that the numbers that you have in the United States are confirmed cases of people that were tested. But there are countless people that I know personally that are sick, are not doing well, have all of the symptoms that it says on the internet of what it could be, and Hashem Yishmor V'Yatzil, they cannot even get tested, either because there's no testing, or because of a certain policy, or procedure, or bureaucracy, all types of different reasons of why HaKadosh Baruch Hu is simply putting these people in a situation where they're realizing you have nothing to rely on other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? The doctors are not able to do everything that they would want to do sometimes, or sometimes they don't want to do it. Depends. Most of them want to do it but can't do it. No supplies, no this, no that. All types of reasons. So there are many, many people that have this coronavirus that have not been able to get tested. Worse yet, the numbers around the world are also a lie. And part of the reason is because many of the countries simply are not testing at all. They're not testing at all. One of those countries is India. India, if you look at the at the internet, you'll see they have almost 1.5 billion people. Almost as many people in India as there is in China. And up till about a month ago, Up till about a month ago, they barely had anybody sick. Still now there's barely anyone there, according to the numbers that you see on the internet, in comparison to the size of the country. Barely anybody sick. Up till about a month ago, they were exporting N95 masks, the most popular mask in the world. They were exporting it, giving it to all the other countries. Fast forward about a month, they just announced the entire country is going on shutdown. Everybody, no one is allowed to leave the house. How long? A month. Why? They realized that coronavirus is not what they thought it was. There are countless people infected, and their medicine didn't work. They had a medicine. They had a cure for it. They had a cure for it, and it didn't work. You know what it was? It was a bunch of crazy people that started clapping and taking their pots and pans in the street and making noise out of their windows or in the streets to scare away the virus. Because that's what their Avodah Zarah says to do. When a virus comes, make a noise with your pots and pans. So you see hundreds and thousands of people making noise out of their window. Ah, ooh, ah, do, 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 ah, la, la, la. All that stuff, virus didn't go away. Why? Countless people are sick right now. Countless. It didn't work. Why? Avodah Zarah doesn't work. It doesn't work. We learned. Eliyahu Navi, in the Haftarah of 2 weeks ago, Eliyahu Navi says to the Nevi'ah Baal, the false prophets at the time of Achav, he says, okay, you bring 450 prophets. I'm going to come by myself. Each one of you prophets bring a korban, bring a sacrifice. Don't add any fire. You do what you got to do, and let's see where the fire is going to come from. If there's a fire that consumes your sacrifice, then your God is the real God. Whichever one you guys pick among your 450. If not, but my God sends a fire to consume my sacrifice, then obviously my God is the real God. This was after 3 years of famine that Eliyahu Navi brought onto the world because many of the Jews were idol worshipping, following the wicked king of the time, Achav. So they had the showdown, famous showdown, 450 fake prophets, 450 Manis Friedmans, 450 Goldbergs, 450 Reshaim, that everyone thought were tzaddikim. They had long beards, peyot, shtraim, everything you want. YouTube channel, 40,000 followers, millions of dollars, everything. But now to showdown, why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, let's go. He sent his prophet Eliyahu Navi. Okay, you showed them what to do. 450 bring their sacrifices. They bring their sheep, their cow, their whatever they want. They put it there and they start going la 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 do 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 doesn't work. Eliyahu Navi says maybe you should say it louder. Maybe your God is busy. It says in the Torah, it says this. I'm not making this up. He says maybe you should say it louder. Maybe your God, he's talking to somebody, he can't hear you. Maybe he can't hear you. La 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 la. Do 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 do. No. With the pots, with the pans, with the no, it doesn't work. Maybe your God's sleeping. Wake him up. Maybe wait a little bit. Let's wait for him. Maybe he's tired. So he says to them. You read in the Tanakh. It's unbelievable. It's the funniest thing in the world. It's the funniest story in the entire Torah. They start making noise, they start making songs, they start thinking that the market's going to go up, and it goes up for one day and everybody starts celebrating. Yeah, we're out of it. The market's up 2,000 points. La 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 la. Do. It all worked. No, Rabotai. This is just a fake out. Show's not over. After they spent hours and hours lying to each other, the people were fed up. No fire came from Shamayim. The false prophecy didn't work. The fake teachings did not help people during crisis. The fake teachings did not help people that really needed help. It only helped people that were looking for lies. After the people got fed up with it, they asked Eliyahu Navi, Eliyahu, can you do something? Eliyahu Navi says, you know what? Let's make it a little more difficult. Why? Because it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the word of Hashem. If Hashem wants to send a fire, it doesn't matter what I do. So let's do this. Let's pick up the ante. Each one of you take a bucket of water, pour it on my korban, pour it on my sacrifices, make it less flammable. Pour water all over the place, and each one came with a bucket of water and poured it on the sacrifice, more and more and more. Eliyahu Hanavi says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, show him who's the one and only God, show him who's the one and only truth. And a fire came from Shamayim and consumed not only the sacrifice, but everything there. And everyone knew that there's only one and only God, the God of Israel, and there's only one and only truth. There is no this truth and that truth, like some people think. His version of Gehenna and your version of Gehenna. His version of heaven and your version of heaven. There is no such thing. There is one single truth. If you believe anything other than that, you are living a lie. And unfortunately, Rabotai Karim, countless people, billions and billions of people are feeding themselves a lie. Now, if it was only the Goyim from India, honestly, I probably wouldn't mention it. What do I care about a 1.5 billion Goyim, even though there's a few good people there, Baruch Hashem, very, very important people to us over there that are, of course, are not idol worshippers. Tzaddikim, they live over there. But the rest of them, what do I care about them? But the reality is that it affects us. It affects each and every single one of us. Why? Because many of us go to those places, eat that food, befriend those people, see their ideology and adapt it into our life, put those Buddha statues or all types of earrings and chains and necklaces and shoes and clothes that these people wear. Why? Because we want to be hip. We want to be like the Goyim, but pretend like we're Jews. And the reality is it does affect us, the religious and the non-religious Jews. And that's why there are many people today, they are sending non-stop text messages. Ribono shel olam. Every 5 seconds there's a new text message of another zgula of what's going to make this go away. Oh, you do this prayer 17 times forward, 18 times backwards, you flip around, you dance right and left, you say Ashtabach Shimo, and everything's going to go away. Okay, you did it, and guess what? 5,000 more people died. Okay, maybe you didn't do it right. Do it again. 7 times, 8 times, right, left. Do the hokey pokey, and let's go. Another 5,000 people died. It's not working. No, send this mail. If you don't send this text message to at least 10 people, you are Rasha. Okay, you send it to not 10, you send it to 100 people. Why? Because it's easy, you just press a button. You have nothing else to do at home anyway. Why? You're not learning Torah, you're playing with the text message all day. Oh, everybody looks like a tzaddik right now. Why? If you send this zgula to 10 people, you're going to save Am Yisrael. Rabotai, HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot make it any clearer without making the situation worse. The only cure for coronavirus happens to be the same cure for all of the spiritual viruses we already had before corona. The cure is tshuva. Stop wasting seed. Stop hanging out with the lesbian and the gays and going on parades. Stop, Mechalel Shabbat, Chilul Shabbat, Befaresia. Stop wasting time on television, on video games, playing basketball, thinking you're going to be the next NBA star. You're a Jew. It will never happen. Stop pretending to be a goy. You're not going to be a good one, even if you try. Why? Because when the Holocaust happened, the Nazis didn't care that you weren't religious. They didn't care if you weren't religious. Even though you acted like them, and many of the Jews over there, they liked being a German more than a Jew. Guess what? They killed them also. In fact, they killed them first. Rabotai, the only cure for corona is the same cure we've needed this whole time. It's called tshuva. Fix ourselves. If you don't know how to be a husband, you have to start learning how to be. How do you know if you're a good husband or a wife or not? It's determined based on the complaining from the other side. If the other side is not happy, that means that you're partly doing something wrong yourself. It's not necessarily always your fault, but it has to do with you also. If your wife is complaining all day that she's not happy, that means that you have to become a better husband. If your husband is constantly complaining that he's unhappy, that means you have to become a better wife. Yeah, but I'm doing everything. Apparently not. If it was everything, they would be happy. And if you're doing really everything, they're still unhappy, then you should send them to an institution for depression. There's something wrong with them. That institution is called the Bet Midrash. Not the institution of the Goyim. The Bet Midrash is the institution for depression. Why? You go to the Bet Midrash, you learn Torah, you become happy. The Goyim, they send you to all these places. What do they put? They're going to give you a bunch of drugs just to numb you. Why? Because they don't want to hear you talk. Because you're not making any sense. The reality, Rabotai, is that we have to stop pretending like we're Goyim. That's the cure. That's the cure. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is making it very obvious that right now they're estimating that whatever numbers you see on the internet as far as the amount of people that actually have been tested positive with the virus, multiplied by at least 11. And that's how many people have the virus for sure, according to them, but haven't been tested. Meaning about 4.5 million. 4.5 million. One of the top officials in New Jersey estimated that pretty much half the country is going to have this virus. Really cheered us up. The guy from California said that at least 25 million, more than half of the state of California, is going to have it. The point is, Rabotai, is that this could get much, much uglier very quick. And we have to stop faking ourselves out thinking that we're out of the woods because the market went up a little bit, because the news doesn't seem so bad. It only doesn't seem so bad because we've become numb to it after watching it for 25 hours a day for 2 weeks straight. You're numb to the dead people. The reality is the struggle continues. And we have to wake up and try to see, what can I do? Other than buy toilet paper and preserve every toothpaste in my house and every donut and every cookie and look at everything as if I'm going to die in myself in the house. Hashem doesn't want to destroy the world, but He also is not getting rid of this really quickly either. He's trying to tell us something here. We have to do a lot of tshuva. Now, many times people are focused on one aspect of tshuva. Most of the time, they consider doing chesed, giving tzedakah, as their tshuva. And that, in essence, because they donate a certain amount of money, they figured that it's okay that they don't learn Torah. It's okay that they don't keep the mitzvot exactly like Hashem says. Why? Because they donate a lot of money to yeshivot and to organizations and so on and so forth. So they figure, if I give a lot, it's going to make up for me not doing a lot. Now, obviously, we know that's not what Hashem said. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Rachmana libabai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I want your heart, not your money. It's my money anyway. It's my money. You're giving it away. You're giving away my money. You think you get credit for it? No, I want to know why you're giving it. Do you believe in the Torah? Or you're just trying to pacify your conscience. The reality is that just giving is not enough. But then there's another problem. There's a bunch of so-called fake tzaddikim. What's a fake tzaddik? Someone that only cares about everybody else's neshama. That's a fake tzaddik. Why? You cannot only care about people's neshama. Rabbi Israel Misalant, alav shalom, the one that started or restarted the Musar movement a couple of 100 years ago, he says, worry about your neshama and your friend, your brother's body. Worry about your neshama, fix your anger, fix your stinginess, fix your arrogance. Your friend, your brother, worry about his body first. Meaning, make sure he's alive, make sure he has food to eat, make sure he has shoes that don't open their mouth like a leviathan, make sure he doesn't have holes in his roof. Then teach him Musar. Why? Because if he doesn't have normal shoes, normal place to live, food to eat, he's already suffering enough. It's not time to teach him Musar at this point. Teach him something else. The reality is, Rabotai Kareem, is that many times you have people where they want to help everybody else with their Musar, with their rebukes. But that's not enough. We have to care about each other completely. A little bit of this and a little bit of this. Care about each other spiritually, but also care about each other physically. You cannot just think that you're doing enough if you're doing one or the other. Now, in order to arrive at such an amazing conclusion, you have to be mamash Baal Ruach HaKodesh. Now, you just got it handed to you on a silver platter. But in reality, to arrive at this conclusion requires an enormous amount of thought. Why? Because you would logically think, if I give a lot to help other people do a lot of good things, isn't there some Mishnah somewhere, Rabbi, that says, Gadola me'aseh min ha'oseh, that it's more praiseworthy and more meritorious for someone that enables another person to do than a person that does himself? Yes, there is a Mishnah like that. But that Mishnah doesn't say that the person that gave doesn't do himself also. It just says that he gets a more merit and more praiseworthy and more schar, more reward for enabling others to do. It doesn't say that he doesn't do himself also. He doesn't learn himself also. He doesn't do mitzvot himself also. He doesn't build his entire olam haba just on this. He has to learn also. He has to keep Shabbat also. He has to work on himself also. So, to understand this, Rabotai, we have to go deep into the words of the Ramban and understand what kind of mind we need to have in order to arrive at such honest conclusions. And the Ramban says here, after he told us that we must cast away any external matters from our mind when we pray, we have to prepare our heart in the presence of the Holy One, we have to purify our thoughts, we have to ponder the words before we say them. Think about what you're going to say before you say it. Don't say you know someone when you don't know someone, like a lot of people are doing right now. You know, creating all types of fake news. Oh, if you do this Sgula 5 times, you're going to see Mashiach next week. Right before Pesach. Yeah, this guy, my rabbi, I'm not going to tell you who he is because he's really busy, but my rabbi told me Mashiach is definitely coming before Pesach. Definitely. So get your suit ready. The level of stupidity that is hitting the media right now in the Jewish world is at new highs. Instead of getting smarter, we're actually getting stupider. And that's not because of coronavirus. It's not one of the symptoms. It's actually, we're doing it naturally. Why? Instead of learning Gemara, learning Shulchan Aruch, learning the Chumash, what do? We're learning the news. We're learning the WhatsApp. We're learning nothing. More Jews today know about Christianity than they know about Torah. It's awful. And it's time to stop with the fake news. Spreading these fake zgulot, fake this, fake that. Enough! Do tshuva. That's what it takes. Fix yourself, things are going to be fixed. You don't fix yourself, nothing's going to be fixed. Right now people are losing their shirt, but I know a few people that are making a killing. How come? Bunch of people are losing money. I know a few people that are making more money in the last month and a half than they've made in their entire life combined. How come? How come? HaKadosh Baruch Hu rewards the righteous and punishes the wicked. That's not it only. The reality is, Rabotai Kareem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to show us how He controls Parnasah. He controls Parnasah. If you're losing, it's not because of coronavirus. It's because HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want to give it to you anymore. He's taking it back. He lent it to you, you didn't use it the right way, so He's taking it back. I have a lot of experience with that. He gave you a bunch of money, you didn't do the right thing with it for whatever reason. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided, not me. He didn't decide it. I didn't decide it, He did. How do I know? He's taking it back. If you did the right thing, guess what? He wouldn't take it back. No, but I gave tzedakah, Rabbi. Apparently not enough. Apparently not enough. Yeah, I gave maaseh, Rabbi. Apparently not to the right organization. Just because you give maaseh doesn't mean give you protection. It depends who you give it to. If you gave it to one of these missionaries that call themselves a rabbi, or one of these organizations that tell people that, that it's okay if they drive on Shabbat, no matter what, they're going to go to Olam Haba anyway. You give it to one of those places, guess what? It's like giving it to a church. If you give it to a shul where half the keilah is driving on Shabbat, it's no different than giving the money to a church. If you give it to an organization that tells everybody is going to go to heaven no matter what, it's no different than giving it to a church. Actually, giving it to a church may be better. Why? Because at least in the church they tell you some people are not going to heaven. But don't do that anyway, because you go to hell for doing that, for giving money to the church. The point being, Rabotai, it's not just about giving. It's about who you're giving it to and how much you're giving. Nagdimon ben Gurion, one of the richest people of the land that was considered one of the Gdolim, a giant tzaddik, Nagdimon ben Gurion, the days of the Gemara, days of the Bet HaMikdash. He was one of 3 rich people that gave money to everybody. They financed the entire people, the entire country. 3 people. Lots of money. Lots of good. Everybody had water. Everybody had food. For 3 years straight, he's given money. Years passed. The Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. Famine hit the city. Rabban Yochanan sees the daughter of Nagdimon ben Gurion looking for food inside the fecal matter of the donkeys of the Arabs. She's looking for seeds. Says, what are you doing? I'm looking for seeds they didn't digest inside the waste of the donkeys. Says, who are you? Says, I am Nagdimon ben Gurion's daughter. Look at it, Gemara Masechet Ta'anit. How could it be? Your father was the richest man of the land. She said he used to be. He said, but how could it be? He should have protection. He gave a lot of tzedakah. Apparently it wasn't enough. Apparently it wasn't enough. Why? It's not just about giving. You have to give the right amount. You have to give to the right people. And the Khatam Sofer gives a chidush worth $1 million. Khatam Sofer a few hundred years ago says even more so. He says it's not just he didn't give enough. It's not just he didn't give to the right people. No. So there's a specific story in the Gemara of a miracle that happened with Nagdimon ben Gurion, where he had a deal with an Arab. He said to him, listen, I have a bunch of people coming to Yerushalayim. I'm responsible for giving them water. There's not enough water this year. Please, give me your wells. I'll borrow your wells. We'll use the water and I'll return the wells to you with the exact amount of water that you gave it to me. And if there's not exactly the amount of water that you gave it to me, I'll fill up the wells with gold. Arab said, good deal. As you would have it, they drank the water, and rain didn't come. Meaning that the water started drying up. On the day that the deal was supposed to be done, the Arab comes there and goes, okay, Nagdimon, I know you're good for it. Fill up my wells with gold. Nagdimon says, wait, at the end of the day, it's still early, it's morning. I still have till the end of the day. He goes, what do you think? It's going to be rain that's going to fill up the wells in a few hours? Because, what you worry about, I'll worry about what I worry about. Nagdimon ben Gurion went inside the Bet HaMikdash, started praying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why do I have to pay your loan? I used the water for your kids. Why do I have to pay with the money you gave me for your kids? Rain started coming down. But it was trickling. Long story short, it wasn't enough. The Arab comes to Nagdimon ben Gurion, says to him, okay, it's not enough. He goes, no, hold on a second, I still have time. He goes, no, the sun's down. He goes, hold on a second. And Nagdimon ben Gurion went back inside the Beit HaMikdash, prayed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu liked his prayer so much, he put the sun back in the sky. The sun went down. He was right. The sun went down. He put the sun. Hashem took the sun, a little tiny malach that he has. It's really big to us though. Took it like a drawing, put it back in the sky. Why? Reversed time and brought rain, filled up the wells. Fantastic miracle. The Arab says, wow, your God is it's obviously your God is answering your prayers. Chazaku Baruch. Big miracle. He is one of 3 people in history. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took the sun and reversed it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable things. Khatam Sofer says, dishonest. What's dishonest? What's dishonest? HaKadosh Baruch Hu reversed the sun. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu reversed the sun, but the deal didn't have this in writing. What was the deal? As soon as the sun goes down, you have to fill up the well with gold. He didn't fill up the well with gold. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, I made a miracle for you, so there's no desecration of my name. But you should have paid him with gold. Whatever wasn't full, you should have paid him with gold. Don't ask for a miracle. And because you saved the money, if you will, you saved the money in a non-kosher way by asking for a miracle from Hashem, in essence, Khatam Sofer says HaKadosh Baruch Hu took all of his money and more. Now, if Khatam Sofer didn't say it, I wouldn't dare to say such a thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not reversing the sun for me. So obviously Nagdimon ben Gurion was a big tzaddik. But apparently made a small mistake. What does that have to do with us? Dishonest business. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates dishonest business. Anyone that watched my shiurim in New York and the week that followed knows how much and how many sources there are in the Torah of how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu hates dishonest business. People that are lending money with high interest, people that are selling goods as new when they're really refurbished or used, people that are overcharging people, taking advantage of people. So many of the people that are losing a fortune right now, they're not really losing a fortune. It was never theirs to begin with. They took it in an unethical way, in an illegal way, according to Hashem's standards. Even if it's legal within the government rules, it's illegal in the eyes of Hashem, so Hashem is just taking it in bunches, in millions. Don't make a mistake and think that the show is over. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu rewards the righteous and punishes the wicked both in this world and the next. Right now He's just simply giving us a small warning shot. People are not jumping out of windows yet. Hopefully it doesn't get to that. But if things continue without us doing tshuva, you're going to start seeing the millionaires and billionaires of the world killing themselves by the dozens, hoping they have corona. It'll be easier than dealing with the embarrassment of losing their fortunes. Now, the Ramban here says, after you purify your thoughts, purify your actions, וכן תעשה כל ימי חיי אבלך בכל דבר ודבר לא תחטא ובזה יהיו דבריך ומעשיך ומחשבותיך ישרים. He says, conduct yourself in these ways in all of your endeavors for as long as you live. In this way you will surely avoid transgression. Your words, actions, and thoughts will be flawless. So here we see that the Ramban emphasizes again that after you've purified your thoughts, after you thought twice before you spoke, he goes back again and warning us to not only be persistent and do this all the time, but he's already giving us a hint of one of the benefits of doing this, which is that you will end up avoiding all transgressions. As a result of having pure thoughts, as a result of having pure actions, we're not going to sin. We're simply not going to sin anymore. What's the big deal of sinning? Why is he constantly reminding us, don't sin, don't sin? How come he doesn't say, do mitzvot? Do a lot of mitzvot. Shouldn't he say, do a lot of mitzvot? No. If you look at all of the Musar and Gemarot and teachings of the sages from Aleph Ataf, from the beginning to the end, you will see a greater emphasis on avoiding the sins than you will see on doing mitzvot. There's a couple of reasons for it. Number one, when a person is focused on avoiding mitzvot, on avoiding sin, it's much easier for him to do mitzvot. If a person is protecting his brit, keeping Shabbat, doesn't light fire, doesn't work on Shabbat, he's honest in business, he's avoiding sins in business, he's avoiding sins on Shabbat, he's avoiding sins when he's by himself or even with his wife. He's avoiding those sins that are easy to make, that you don't even need anyone to know, except the Kadosh Baruch Hu will always know. He's avoiding all of those sins. If you ask that guy to come pray, no problem, he's coming. You ask that guy to come to the Shiur Torah, no problem, he's coming. You ask that guy to donate, if he has it, he's donating. No problem. Why? His neshama is clean. And he's working so hard to keep it that way. It's pure enough to just understand that whatever Hashem is sending him as an opportunity, as a mitzvah, it's for him to take. Take it where you can. When a person is full of sins, even if he does mitzvot, everything is only if it fits. Only if it's convenient for him will he do this mitzvah. He's only going to come to shul if it's in his schedule to come. If he doesn't have an appointment, if he doesn't have a meeting, if he's going to wake up on time. He's only going to come to the shul if he likes the speaker, not if the speaker is speaking emet. Only if he likes the speaker is he going to go. He's only going to go to the shul for the amount of time that he wants to go, not the whole time. If he can only go for a half hour, he's only coming for a half hour. He's not going to come for the whole thing. Why? Because it's too long. He gets tired. He's only going to learn when he wants to learn, not when he needs to learn. He's only going to keep Shabbat the way he wants to keep Shabbat, not the way Hashem wants you to keep Shabbat. He's only going to be a husband the way he wants to be a husband, not the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to be a husband. She's only going to be modest according to her standards, not the standards that Hashem and the Chachamim set into the world. No, I think in my eyes this is modest, Rabbi. Who cares about your eyes? Anybody ever tell you that? Well, Hashem is saying that all day. As the Mishnah in Avot says, every single day there's a bat kol coming from Mount Chorev, from Mount Sinai. Oy la bria, woe to the creation that desecrates my Torah. Woe to my creation for having such people that think that their standards are anything in comparison to mine. Woe to my creation. Woe to my creation that thinks that they can make the rules according to whatever community they're in, and not according to the sages of the generation and the previous generations. Woe to my creation that has such people that make fun of the sages and think that it's okay. Woe to such a creation that thinks that they are in the same level in any aspect as the sages of the previous generation, whether it be 30 years ago or 300 years ago or 1500 years ago. Woe to such a creation. Woe to such a people. The point is, Rabotai, is that when a person is full of sins, it's a person that's only going to do a mitzvah if it fits into their mind, into their logic, into their lifestyle, into their schedule. Why? Because they're full of what's called klipa. Klipa is what you create as a result of sins. It's like a thick shell around your neshama that doesn't allow kedusha to come in the same way with someone that doesn't have it. So you're only going to allow certain parts of mitzvot into your life when you make a lot of sins. Hence the reason of why the sages said that when you want to do what Hashem says, first focus on refraining from sinning. Focus on not sinning. Then focus on the mitzvot. Why? Because if you focus on not sinning, it'll be easier for you to do the mitzvot. If you don't focus on not sinning, and you end up sinning as a result of it, naturally, then even your mitzvot are not going to be pure. There is another sage, I believe it's the Bartanura, but don't quote me on the name, but this is definitely a myth. When I heard this, I wasn't sure if I should teach it. But I have it in my head right now, which means I have to teach it. There's a sage that says, and this is one of the Gdolei Ador, this is not like Mickey Mouse. One of the Rishonim. He says, a person that doesn't do tshuva, a person that's not fixing himself, she's not fixing herself, she's not serious about Hashem, she's only going to do whatever she feels like it, the sins they make count 100%. Sins. The mitzvot count for nothing. All the mitzvot they do count for nothing. They won't get a reward for it. They'll get a reward for it in this world. They won't get a reward for it over there. Why? Why? This is because even the mitzvot are impure. Even the mitzvot are no good. When will those mitzvot count? When they start doing tshuva, they'll get like a wave, like a tsunami of kedusha is going to hit them because of all the mitzvot they've gathered, but they didn't get a reward for it. But if a person is going to try playing 50-50 with Hashem, Hashem says, I don't want any of your mitzvot. All of that person's mitzvot go to the Sitra Acha, go to the Satan. And this is not the only one that says it, it's also in the Zohar Kadosh. Zohar Kadosh says a person that wastes seed, all of the mitzvot that he makes, even if he gives tzedakah, even if he does all types of good things, every single one of the mitzvot that he does goes to the Satan, gives power to the Satan. Doesn't count for him. So it's not like one source. There's many sources. The point being, Rabotai, is this is scary. Why? Most of what we have today is not religious at all. There are some really, really good ones, but there's a bunch of us that are in the middle. And none of us can be so sure of ourselves that we're actually like on the good side or we're like almost in the middle. Meaning that unless we start picking up our game, even the good stuff that we're doing is not going to help us. Why waste so much effort if we're not going to get paid? Just push yourself a little further, do everything right, and that's it. Let's stop pretending to be 1 foot into the Jewish world and 1 foot still left in the Goyish world. And that's in essence one of the things that the Ramban tries to teach here, is that you have to make sure that you stay away from sins, especially the big ones and the obvious ones. People are literally making sins, but they think it's a mitzvah because of their ignorance. Right now, there's so much corruption happening due to the situation that's happening, so much chilul Hashem that's happening. It's very hard to understand how somebody can even save themselves from such things. People are in certain businesses that are trying to benefit out of the medical situation, whether it's with masks or buying and selling masks or all types of other equipments and so on. Now, it's no problem to benefit. It's no problem to make money. The problem is when you're dishonest. The problem is when you're dishonest. You buy the goods, you sign the deal, and then the guy says, okay, I transferred the goods to you, pay me. Bankruptcy. The guy declares bankruptcy. The entity that bought the stuff declares bankruptcy, so he doesn't have to pay him for the goods either. And this is happening. This is happening between friends. I got one student says that is a guy that he prays next to nets. Every day for years they pray next to each other. For years they pray next to each other. In the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. They deal together. Without a contract. Why? With their friends. Even though Jewish law says you're supposed to have a contract. Nonetheless, no contract. Why? He's my boy. I've been praying next to this guy for 15 years. I have to have a contract with him. I got the thing. He did this. I did that. We got the money. We're going to split 50-50. Day of the deal happened. Got the money. Okay, can I have my money? No, you're not getting the money. What do you mean I'm not getting the money? No, it's too much. What do you mean it's too much? We had a deal. 50-50. Listen, I'll pay you 10%. If you want, take it. No, I'm not going to give you nothing. What about the 15 years we've been praying next to each other? The 15. You want it or no? And this is happening. This is actually a good situation. You know how many people are not paying at all, nothing, just stealing each other's money? Now you would think these people are secular. No, it's not just secular people. I'm sorry, it's not. It's mamash filth happening. They're ripping each other apart. Right now, mamash, an hour, 2 hours ago, somebody tells me, listen, there is some of the rabbis in the community says no more Batei Knesset. Don't pray in a Bet Knesset, there's a danger, coronavirus, no problem. The rabbi doesn't want to open a Bet Knesset, no problem. Doesn't want to open it. But you can still do whatever you want to do. You want to pray at your house, you want to invite a few people to your house, go ahead. As long as it's not crazy, it's not putting people in danger, as long as you don't have any of the symptoms, and it's less than 10 people, it's 10 people or less, and it's you're keeping your head screwed on right, no problem. So some of the people decided that they're going to pray in front of somebody's house and keep a distance of 6-10 feet from each other to keep the minyan. These reshaim, go and call the cops on them. Jews, religious Jews, are calling the cops on other Jews. They're putting the whole community in danger. They're praying together. Listen, you're not there. How are you in danger? Anyone that's in danger actually wants to be there. Someone who doesn't want to be in so-called danger is not there. There's 10 people there. Leave them alone. What are you calling the cops for? A person that calls the cops on another Jew, en lo chelek le'olam haba. Gemara says it. If somebody is going to be telling the government, ratting on other Jews, and causing the Jews to get arrested, go to jail, and so on, they lose their olam haba. So, or lose the olam haba. Just like that. With or without the shtreimel. With or without the wig. With or without the kisur rosh. Doesn't make a difference. You call the cops on other Jews, you just lost your olam haba. You know how much tshuva you have to do in order to get that back? They call the cops on each other. Or better yet, they take pictures to show the rabbi. Look, Rabbi, look at my phone. Look, Rabbi, look, he was praying in a minyan outside of his house, Rabbi. What have we come to? What's happening to us? This is what you have in your life. You're that bored out of your mind, you go to your next door neighbor, you take a picture of him to show the rabbi. I mean, this is pathetic. It's truly pathetic that the minds that we have today are so empty that that's how we consume our time. Go learn. Go read some Tehillim. Go do something useful with your life. Stop looking at your neighbor. Who says you're even allowed to look at your neighbor's stuff anyway? If they want to pray 10 people, no problem, let them pray. But no, you're going to go tell on them. Call the cops. Call the rabbi. Call this, call that. Call Ghostbusters. And then we're surprised that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is making the situation worse with coronavirus. There's so much stuff going on in the world today. It's mamash busha v'chirpa that we're still not getting the message. We're still not getting the message. The corruption in the business world is mamash hitting new highs. And it's going to get worse if we don't wake up. Now, in order to solve this spiritual epidemic, the Ramban continues and he says, in this way, you will surely avoid transgressions, your words, your actions, your thoughts will be flawless. Meaning, as a result of conducting yourself in such a way, even your thoughts, your words, your actions are all going to be flawless. Meaning, what is he really telling you? He's not just telling you the outcome. He's telling you the things you need to do. Not only do the words that come out of your mouth need to be flawless, but you have to make sure to calculate, should you even say any words? Should you say the words that you want to say at such and such place? Why? Because as we talked about many times, the Zohar Kadosh in Parashat Truma says a person that speaks divrei chol, meaning mundane subjects, inside of a Bet Knesset, en lo chelek be'elokei Yisrael. A person that speaks mundane conversations inside a bet knesset, inside a bet midrash. You want to talk about the news. You want to talk about coronavirus. You want to talk about sports. You want to talk about your shopping list for the next holiday. If that's inside of a bet knesset, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm not your God anymore. Zohar Parashat Truma, page 131b. Meaning, yes, you can talk about mundane things, but not there. Not in the Bet Knesset, not in the Bet Midrash. Go outside. Yeah, but it's cold outside. Okay, so put a jacket. You're allowed to talk certain things, but remember that your words must be flawless, meaning even the words that come out of your mouth, even if they're the right words and they're permissible, it doesn't mean they're permissible everywhere. It doesn't mean that they're permissible at any time. There's a time and a place for everything. A person needs to know that every one of the words that comes out of his mouth, even more so, every one of the conversations that he's going to have or she's going to have must have a purpose. Do not continue wasting your life having purposeless conversations. Somebody asked me yesterday or 2 days ago, can I speak to a woman in order to develop my Hebrew? I said, what's the purpose of the conversation? Do you know this woman? No, she's a friend of a friend. Okay, and for what purpose will you speak to her? Like, are you going to marry her? I go, no, I'm too young. I'm not getting married yet. So why are you talking to her? Develop my Hebrew. So you want to develop your Hebrew? Read books. Why? You're not allowed to speak even to your own wife, even if she was already your wife. You're not allowed to talk about nothing. Even if she was your wife, you're not allowed to talk about too much. You have to contain it, have a purpose. Kids, marriage, things, has to have a purpose. Don't talk about nothing for no reason. And that's even if it's your wife, needless to say, somebody else's wife. You're not even allowed to talk to her. Develop your Hebrew, read books. What develop your Hebrew? The point is, Rabotai, is that if you're going to actually think about things, it won't sound so strict. Why? When you pray to Hashem, how many of us, there's not many, it's 4 of you only, Baruch Hashem, so no one can tell us we're causing trouble. Now, how many people, when they pray to Hashem, want Hashem to treat our prayers like a spam mail? Nobody, right? Nobody wants Hashem to say, oh, it's Yaron again, spam, 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 Sani, spam, Yeshua, spam, spam, Moshe, spam, Ari, spam. You pray to Hashem, you don't want to treat like spam, Hashem Yachem. No, you want to put a VIP with the star on it and the flag on it and the reminder every 15 minutes. Answer my prayer, Kadosh Baruch Hu. I sent you a prayer, I sent you a message, I sent you this, a WhatsApp, a Facebook, a FaceTime, at this time, all types of times. Like Kadosh Baruch Hu, answer my prayer. Where am I going to go if you don't pray, if you don't answer me? That's what we want, right? Now, if you want that, that means that you have to use the tool that is being used for prayer right. Not just to pray, but all day. You cannot use the mouth that you ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for miracles for things that are against Him also. Meaning, you can't say, Hashem, give me parnasah, and then 30 seconds later, say the F word 30 times. Just to make sure you fulfill every minyan of every keilah. You cannot use the mouth you ask Him for parnasah to lie too, to cheat also. Why? Your mouth is the kli kodesh. It's the tool of holiness that you speak to Hashem. Surely you cannot use this mouth to do things that are against Him on a regular basis and expect your prayers to have the same value. If we use our mouth in a holy way to learn Torah, to read Torah, to say prayers, to talk the truth, to speak the truth, then this is a holy tool. If we ask for something from HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Kepitiye, you'll be like my mouth. Hashem doesn't have any mundane conversations with anybody. He doesn't say, how's the weather in Montana over there? He doesn't ask. He doesn't have any mundane conversations. How was your weekend? He doesn't ask that. He doesn't ask how your weekend was. Oh, what do you guys think of this such and such sports team? What do you think of this show? You going to watch it? He doesn't have those conversations. Only holiness comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we want our mouth to be like His mouth, we have to do the best we possibly can to contain the things that come out of our mouth. Needless to say only the truth, to say things that are connected to Hashem, to do the right thing, not to lie, not to curse. When this tool is holy, the things that it can achieve are immensely greater than when it's not really so holy. That's why when the sages would pray to Hashem and ask for Hashem to give somebody a refuah shlema, Hashem fulfills their prayer. When somebody asks for Hashem for parnasah, Hashem fulfills their prayer. Why? Because He sees that no bad comes out of their mouth. The Gemara says, one of the greatest tzaddikim that ever lived, Yeshua ben Levi. He's the same Yeshua ben Levi that told us a lot of what we know about Gehenom. Why? He was friends with Eliyahu Navi and the Malach HaMavet. Meaning this was such a holy person that lived among men that he already had an understanding with things that are beyond this world. Eliyahu Navi came to him, says, Yeshua ben Levi, you want to go see Gehenom? Yeah, let's go. Let's go. If Eliyahu Navi, or somebody says, Eliyahu Navi comes to you and says, you want to see Gehenom? Say no. Why? It's probably not Eliyahu Navi, it's probably like a demon or something. You gotta stay there. Yeshua ben Levi is Ish Kodesh. Now, the Malach HaMavet liked Yeshua ben Levi. He liked him. He said to him, Yeshua, you want to see Gan Eden? I'm going to show you what you're going to get in Gan Eden. Yeshua ben Levi said, sure. I'll go see it. I'll go see the next world. Let's go. He goes, no. Listen, you're still the Malach HaMavet. I don't trust you. I think that as soon as I turn around, you're going to kill me. No, come on, Yeshua, we're friends. Okay, we're friends, but you still got a job. So, let's do this. If we're such good friends, give me your knife. Because there's a special knife, special like sword type of thing that the Malach HaMavet has, that on the tip of it, it has this drop that takes the life out of a person. It falls into the person's mouth, takes the life out of a person. Long story short, he says, give me this, I'll hold it, and as soon as the trip is over, I'll give it back to you. Sure, take it, have a good time. He gave it to him. He shows him Gan Eden. Gan Eden, Ishtabach Shimo, full of Kedusha, and it's only the beginning. It's not the whole thing. It's not the whole Gan Eden. But just the Kedusha from the outside is out of this world. Beauty, good smells, good things, something out of this world. Yeshua ben Levi jumped inside with the knife. Malach HaMavet says to him, okay, you're coming out, right? He goes, I'm not coming out. Yeshua, you're still alive, you have your clothes on. He goes, I'm not coming out. I'm here. I don't want to feel the pain of death. I'm here. I'm not leaving, and I'm making a neder. I'm making a swear. I will never leave this place. Malach HaMavet has nothing to do. Why? He doesn't have the knife anymore. Malach HaMavet goes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He says, Hashem, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He took my knife. He doesn't want to leave Gan Eden. Hashem says, okay, listen. You're right, he took your knife. It's not so fair, but he did make a neder. He made a neder, he's not going to leave Gan Eden. That's a problem. Why? He's a tzaddik. He makes a neder, we have to evaluate. Why? Because can't make him break a neder. But the same token, we have to evaluate if his neder actually counts. How do we evaluate? Let's look at every single thing he ever said in his entire life. If he ever lied one time, take him and the knife and everything out of Gan Eden, don't worry about it. You could take him out. But if he never ever lied in his life, never lied, nothing, zero, then we cannot do anything about it. Why? He made a neder. His word is like me saying it. He never lied. Imagine you didn't lie for a day. Forget your whole life. People are so used to lying, they forgot they're lying most of the time. Oh yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes. He's 45 minutes away. I'll be there in 5 minutes. He knows he's 45 minutes away. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Tell him I'm not home. But you're home, Abba, you're home. Tell him I'm not home or you're punished. Okay, Abba's not home. He said he's not home. No speak English. We're so accustomed to lying, we forget we're lying all day, every day. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Malach HaMavet, let's watch the movie of his entire life and see if he lied one time. They looked at his entire life. Yeshua ben Levi never lied a single time in his life. Everything that came out of his mouth was 100% emet. Never broke a neder, never lied. Something out of this world. Needless to say, that's the reason of why Eliyahu Navi and Malach HaMavet felt like best friends with him. He's a Malach Hashem himself already. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to the Malach HaMavet, unfortunately, you can't do nothing about it. He's in Gan Eden. He's in Gan Eden. At least you can do, if you want him to give you back your knife, go introduce him to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in Gan Eden. Maybe he'll give you back the knife. He goes, he introduces Yeshua ben Levi to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Gemara Masech Chaga. Yeshua ben Levi is one of 10 people that went into Gan Eden with his clothes on, never died. Why? He never lied once. Never lied once. I think we can get to Gan Eden if we don't lie for a week. Week straight, you're going to probably Gan Eden. Don't quote me on it though. Why? Because the reality is we're so used to lying, we forget we're lying. So, how do we get to a point of not lying? The Rabban says, you have to think about everything, including the words that come out of your mouth, whether it's worth it to say what you're going to say, whether what you're going to say is honest, whether it's the right place and the right time to say it, meaning that your speech, your words have to be elevated to the extent where you're aspiring to be flawless. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to lose it once in a while on our way to being perfect, on our way to trying to be perfect, on our way to at least try to be good. We're all going to make mistakes along the way. But the point being, Rabotai, is that just because you make mistakes does not mean you should give up. The people that succeed in life fail the most too. The bigger the success, the more they failed on the way to it. But the problem is that most people know just the success stories. The guy after he made $1 billion, they don't realize how many times he failed on the way to $1 billion. The guy after he made the discovery, they don't realize how many of his experiments blew up in his face and almost killed somebody, including himself. So the point is that success has failure in it. Failure is part of success. Success without failure is not success. Success without failure is luck. It's a Kadosh Baruch Hu pretty much just doing it for you just to see what you're going to do about it. But don't think it's going to happen again. So we have to perfect our words. We have to perfect our actions and our thoughts. Meaning that we have to act in certain ways with an understanding that those actions will influence our words. One of the things that a lot of people ask about is about watching movies and playing video games. Now, aside from the fact that the Torah says this is considered chukot lagoim, this is considered like the actions of the goyim. Not supposed to do it. The Steipler Gaon says someone that watches TV has no share of the world to come. And he was talking about a TV of 100 years ago, without the nudity and the filth that they have today on regular channels. How can you get to Olam Haba if you spent half your day watching television? How? How are you going to get to Olam Haba if you're seeing all the pritzut and all the movies they have? There's so much filth on television today that even cartoons cannot be trusted. Cartoons cannot be trusted. There are countless cartoons, animation, that have homosexuality between the cartoons. It's the craziest thing in the world. The filth that's on television today and on the internet and on Netflix, for sure, you have no share of the world to come if you spend your time doing that. What about educating kids? Educate them with kosher stuff. You have to educate them with kosher stuff. Yeah, but the kosher stuff is not as interesting. Let it be the most boring thing in the world. But if that's the only thing that they are ever going to watch, guess what? They're going to find it interesting. But if you show them Transformers and then you show them some Jewish cartoon, of course they're not going to like it. Because you show them Genom that looks like Gan Eden. Sure, they're not going to like the good stuff. They're going to like the bad stuff. So you have to understand that what we see leads to certain thoughts. And that's why the Gemara Masechet Avodah Zarah says, a person must watch his eyes during the day so it doesn't lead to evil at night. Evil being what? Shlomo HaMelech says, evil is wasting seed. Even if it's not on purpose and it's during your sleep, many times it's because of things that you saw during the day, that day, the day before, a week before, a month before, and so on and so forth. The cleaner your eyes are, the cleaner your mind is going to be. But if you don't watch your eyes and you look at everything that moves and doesn't move, you look at all the pictures, you look at all the movies, you look at all the different things out there, there is no way that you're going to have clean thoughts. And you don't have clean thoughts with morality, eventually it's going to ruin a lot of other things. It's a domino effect. You're going to start comparing your wife, or even wife-to-be, to some woman you saw in some commercial. You're going to think about your husband, but with that guy's face on it, that you saw in a commercial or in the show. Or you're going to compare your husband's attitude to the guy that you saw in some show. And the reality that you now have is not a real reality. You start imagining each other as what you want the person to be rather than what they are. And many times people, they get married not because they like each other, but they like each other's potential. No, I'm going to change him. I'm going to change him. Oh, no, I'm going to change her. Yeah, but maybe she doesn't want to change. No, don't worry, I'll change her. I'll change her into what I want it to be. Well, if you don't want her, and you don't want him as they are, that means you don't want each other, you want somebody else. So why don't you just save each other the divorce and the time to get there, and just go find somebody else instead. And that's the problem. People want to change each other instead of changing themselves. So when you look at things that are inappropriate, no one in the world is going to seem good to you. Why? Because you're constantly comparing them to things that are unrealistic. Unrealistic looks, unrealistic physique, unrealistic materialism, unrealistic, all types of things. This is part of the reason of why people that are addicted to pornography and immorality tend to have horrendous sex lives. Why? They can never ever get their desire to match what they allow themselves to see on some screen. Because that's not real life. People don't look like that, people don't perform like that, people don't do that. But they think that they're supposed to. And many divorces happen because, we're just not a good fit. What do you mean we're not a good fit? Talk to me like a real person. What do you mean not a good fit? When it's in between me and her, it wasn't fun. You know why it wasn't fun? You're watching too much porno. That's why it's not fun. You're thinking that your wife is supposed to be like this prostitute that you watch. That's the problem. You think that she's supposed to be like her. That's the problem. It's not the wife's problem. She's normal. You're the Rasha Merusha. And you think that your wife is, instead of Bar Israel, you think she's supposed to be a filthy pig, like you watch on the show. That's the problem. That's what your problem. You're thinking that a Bat Israel Kedosha is supposed to be a prostitute. That's what you think. That's the problem. It's not her, it's you. You are the Rasha. Has nothing to do with her. Oh, Rabbi, why are you being so mean? I'm not being mean. Just telling you what you're supposed to tell yourself, but since you didn't, I'm going to do you the favor. Helping you out. For free. Free. It's a good price. Go to a psychiatrist, $500 an hour. By the time he tells you what I tell you, it's 5 years of $500 an hour. I told you, for free. No, you should pay me. Rabotai Kareem, when we have filthy minds, we're never going to succeed in anything that's holy. Never. Now, the Chovot HaLevavot in Shar Yichud HaMaaseh, he says a person must be ultra careful of sin and the things that are enticing a person to sin, because the Yetzer Hara is awake while you are asleep. He's toiling while you are lazy. Meaning, the problem with us is not that the Yetzer Hara is working too hard, or the Yetzer Hara is too big or too strong. Is that we underestimate the Yetzer Hara. We think the Yetzer Hara stops working. Why? Because he's not obvious. He's not walking around the world with eyes from head to toe and is some giant that you can't miss. Sometimes the Yetzer Hara, he's your best friend. For 5 minutes. He's your best friend for 20 years. Your best friend for 20 years, but 5 minutes, your friend turns into the Yetzer Hara himself. Why? He says to him, listen, you want to go to the shiur? What shiur? Yo, Rabbi Reuven. He's too much. That's Yetzer Hara. That's Yetzer Hara. Yeah, but he's my best friend for 20 years. He's religious. Okay, he's religious. With Yetzer Hara for 5 minutes. Why? If that shiur is going to help your neshama get closer to Hashem, anyone that tells you not to go, he's the Yetzer Hara at that moment. Not all the time. 5 seconds later, he's back to being Yetzer Hara Tov. But at that moment, he cools you off, Yetzer Hara 100%. The problem is that we don't think it's the Yetzer Hara. Why? Because it's my best friend. Or better yet, it's my wife. How could my wife be the Yetzer Hara? Isn't she my soulmate? Yes, she is your soulmate. She is great. She is amazing. She's even better than you make her to be. But those 2 minutes she told you not to learn Torah, Yetzer Hara 100%. 100% Yetzer Hara. Now, if you say that to her, you're going to get a divorce. What do you guys do? You got to know it in your head. Okay, how do I convince her that my learning Torah will benefit her? How do I beat this Yetzer Hara? The Yetzer Hara will come to you in a lot of different ways. Your friend's going to call you and say, listen, you're coming to the bar mitzvah? You're coming to the wedding? No, I can't. I told the guy I'm not coming. But come on, no, they have good food there. Listen, it's the hashgacha of such and such, and it's food, and it has a cake, and a this, and a that. At that moment, the food became the Yetzer Hara. Food, an inanimate object, became Yetzer Hara. Why? You didn't want to go to a wedding, you were going to go to a shiur, you want to go be with your wife, you're going to go be with your kids, but now, you're being enticed by what? Food. Food is turned into Yetzer Hara. Yeah, but Rabbi, everybody's hungry. Okay, it's hungry. Doesn't mean you have to go to a wedding for it. Hungry, go eat at home. No, my wife didn't cook. Okay, take one of those soups that's already pre-made. You put some hot water on it. 2 minutes, you're finished. You're full. You're full. 2 minutes. Take some begele, put some mustard on it. You're finished. Go. Why? It has to be a 5-course dinner, 3 different cakes, a whole event, a whole night just to eat. People make such a big deal out of eating, no, but the restaurant and that restaurant, 3 hours just to decide what they're going to eat for lunch. You go up to Shamayim, says, listen, a third of your life you wasted on sleeping. Okay, that's normal. Listen, a lot of people sleep 8 hours a day. You spend a third of your life sleeping. Okay, so now we have 16 hours a day for X amount of years. Fine. Another 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day you spent working. Okay, so you had 8 hours left, right? 7 hours left. So we have to judge you not on the working, not on the sleeping. We have to judge you what you actually do with your time. Okay, so out of 8 hours left you spent about an hour, hour and a half a day, a bathroom, shower, all that stuff. Okay, so you got about 6 hours left. 6 hours left. Out of the 6 hours, you spent 3.5 of it deciding what you're going to eat. So we have 3 hours that you actually did something productive in the world. And you spend it on Netflix. 3.5 hours deciding what to eat. 15 minutes to eat, and the rest of it is on Netflix. The rest of it is on Facebook. You expect to go to Gan Eden? The point is, Rabotai, is that when we realize how much time we waste, we have to also analyze what are we wasting it on. Is it worth it to waste our time on choosing what to eat? Where to go to dinner? Things like that really don't mean that much. 5 seconds after you finish eating, you forgot what you ate anyway. Once the taste is gone, it's gone. It's not like you taste a steak and it's simmering in your saliva glands in there, 25 minutes later. 3 seconds after you finish, you forgot what you ate already. Nobody sits there saying, wow, amazing, great, and actually still taste the food. It's gone. All you feel is you're full. Whether you're full from begale, or you're full from a donut, or you're full from salad, or you're full from a steak, it's the same full. It's the same exact feeling. You're full. Okay, no one says you have to eat not good food. Eat not good, good food, delicious food, no problem. I also like good food. Look at me. I like good food, no problem. But don't spend 3 hours a day on it. It's such a waste of time. You have to evaluate your time. Now, when a person has the right mentality, a clean mentality, their actions and their way in the world changes to such an extent that they seem like an angel among men. Now, when we get something, whether you got some money or some other possession, and then you see that somebody else doesn't have it, your natural predisposition, your natural reaction to that is, if you're a grateful person, thank God I have. Why? Because you're seeing that he's lacking, she's lacking, and you're not. So if you're a grateful person and you recognize the Father in heaven that we have, you say, thank God I have. Why? Because I see what it looks like when we don't have. It's not a good thing. If you're not a grateful person, you don't really feel much, other than the fact that you're lucky and they're not. But if you're a tzaddik, you have a completely different feeling. What is that feeling? Years ago, the Baal Shem Tov had a Talmid, his main Talmid, the Magid Mimezrich. And the Magid Mimezrich had several great Talmidim. One of them was Rabbi Zusha. I've told you stories about Rabbi Zusha and his brother, Rabbi Elimelech Temidezhinsk, several times. These are some of the most famous Hasidim in history. And Rabbi Zusha and his brother, Rabbi Elimelech, lived in horrific poverty. But there were enormous Talmidei Chachamim, enormous miracle workers. Their blessings on people, and when they blessed somebody to become rich, came true. But for themselves, they were very poor. Now, this was by choice, but nonetheless, wasn't necessarily easy. But to just show you what kind of sages we have in our nation, what kind of sages we're related to, you can call these people your grandfather. You can call these people your distant uncle. This is where we're from. This is where we're from. We're even from something even bigger. We're from Avraham Avinu. Someone who spoke to Hashem. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Rabbi Zusha comes to his Rebbe one day, says, the Magid Mimezrich says, Kvod Harav, I cannot afford to marry off my daughters. The Magid Mimezrich says to him, you have to marry all of them now? He goes, no, just one. Just one I have to marry off now. So how much is it going to cost you? He says, 300 rubles. So the Magid Mezlit says, his rabbi says, here, he takes out of the safe 300 rubles. He goes, yeah, I'm going to lend you this money now. Go collect some money. When you collect, if you don't have one way or the other, you know you have it. You have it to go marry off now, but go collect whatever else you need to collect to get the 300 rubles otherwise. Because it's not like he was rich himself, but he took care of his Talmid. So Rabbi Zusha started to go. Now he didn't give him money for traveling. He gave him money to wed off his daughter, so he couldn't use the money for trains and things of that nature. So he started walking to different cities and different towns. Eventually he gets to another city to go collecting, to try to get some tzedakah. And when he gets there, he sees that in the city, in the market, is a huge commotion. Huge commotion over there going on. He comes close, says, what happened? He sees there's a woman on the floor, passed out. What happened to this woman? He says, no, you understand, the husband died, and she was, her daughter is an orphan from her father. She didn't have anything, and she has worked her whole life just to get 300 rubles so she can marry off her daughter. And she found a chatan. They have an agreement that she's going to give 300 rubles to help them, and the agreement is that they're going to get married. Okay, so what happened? On the way to the wedding, she lost the money. Now the wedding's off. She passed out. As soon as she found out, she passed out. And every time we try to wake her up, she realizes again she lost the money for her daughter. Her daughter can't get married. Not only she's an orphan, she also can't get married. She passes out again. We don't know what to do. So Rabbi Zusha gets close to her. Excuse me. She opens her eyes. She's about to pass out. Goes, oh, don't pass out. I found the money. Why? In his mind, he said, wait a minute. I have 300 rubles. She lost 300 rubles. What does that mean? To us it means, thank God I have 300 rubles, right? To the Rasha it means, oh, I'm lucky he's not. To the Tzaddik, it means, I have 300 rubles and she needs it, so therefore it's an opportunity for me to give them. That's what Tzaddiks think. That's what Tzaddikim think. I have what they need. Yeah, but what about your need? Oh, what I need. Who cares about what I need? He needs. It's my brother, it's my sister. They need. That's what tzaddikim think. So he says to her, I have the money. She says, you have the money? She woke up. Really? Where is it? He goes, well, listen. We have a law, we have a Torah, so please tell me some signs. I found the money. I found 300 rubles. But give me some signs that I know it's your money. What kind of bills was it? How many bills, how many tens, how many 20s, how many 30, and so on. She gives him an exact description. He says, okay, I'll go check, and I'll get it to you. He goes, gets change at the bank to be exactly what she described. So she doesn't think he's giving her the money, but rather he really found her money. He comes back, he gives her the money. Everybody's giving him blessings. Wow, chazaku baruch. Wow. The lady says, hold on a second. There's 100 missing. There's only 200 here. I lost 300 rubles. So Rabbi Zusha says, yeah, that's my fee. It's my commission. Finder's fee. Everybody says, what? Finder's fee? You Rasha Merusha. You're going to take a finder's fee from an orphan. You're going to take a finder's fee from a poor lady. She just passed out, almost died because of this. You're going to take a finder's fee. He says, listen, I got a finder's fee. They start cursing him and yelling at him. No one realizes it's his money. And they start yelling and insulting him and said, listen, we're going to take you to Beit Din. He says, take me to Beit Din. They go to Beit Din. Rabbi says, no, what's the problem? He says, Rabbi Zusha says, listen, she lost 300 rubles. I found it. And I gave her 200 back. I took 100 back for myself. What? It's a finder's fee. The rabbi was big Talmid Chacham. Says, listen, there's no such thing in the Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch doesn't say it's a finder's fee. Where's your love of another Jew? You're so obligated to love another Jew like you love yourself. Oh, Rabbi Zusha says, oh, okay, there's no finance fee, okay, I'll give her the money back. He gives her the money back and they throw him out. Throw him out of there. Wanted to take 100 rubles for himself, from a poor orphan. Now the rabbi that was at the Bet Din knew that Rabbi Zusha, his rabbi was the Magid Mimezrich, the Gdol Ador. So he says, I have to tell the Magid, I got to tell him that his student is a faker, because I know that the Magid Mezrich likes his student, this Rabbi Zusha. He speaks very highly of him, but he's a Rasha. He wants to take 100 rubles from some poor orphan. So he goes and speaks to the Magid Mezrich. He tells him everything that happens, like, listen, Kvod Rav, I know he's your student, I know you love him and everything, but I got to tell you, he's a faker. Because why he's a faker? He tells him the whole story. He wants to take 100 rubles from a poor lady, an orphan. So the Magid Mimezrich smiles at the other rabbi and he says, my Zusha, I know my Zusha. I know my Zusha did not take the 300 rubles. Those 300 rubles are my money. I give it to him. So I know my Zusha didn't do that, what you're saying. I just don't know why he did what he did though. That I have to ask him. So let's bring him in. So they bring on Rabbi Zusha, and the Magid Mimezrich says, I know that you gave this poor woman the 300 rubles that I gave you to wed off your daughter. Instead of wedding off your daughter, you cared about another Jewish woman to give her your money, leaving yourself with nothing. Because I know you're a tzaddik, I know that's what you did. He goes, yeah, Rabbi, that's what I did. I just don't understand one thing in the story. If you're already giving her the money, why the whole story with the commission, with the finder's fee? So Rabbi Zusha, story worth $1 million. Rabbi Zusha says to him this. He says, Kvod Rav, you have to understand. When I saw this poor woman losing her mind, she was passed out, she was almost pikuach nefesh. I understood at that moment, I have to give her the money. I have the money, she needs it, no problem. The second I decided this, the Yetzer Hara himself showed up and started singing my name. Zusha, Zusha. He starts singing my name. Zusha's Gdol Ador. Zusha's the biggest tzaddik. Zusha's even bigger than his rabbi. Zusha is the nitzot. He's a sparkle of Mashiach ben David. Zusha is this, Zusha and that. And everywhere I'd go, he wouldn't leave me alone. I went to go get the change. I thought he was going to leave by then. He started singing even more, brought some friends. Zusha, Zusha. I started singing my name, Tzaddik, Tzad. I said to him, you know what, Yetzer Hara, you know what I do to you? After I finish with you today, you're never going to come back again. So I knew I had to do something. I had to do something to get this Yetzer Hara out of my head, making me think I'm a tzaddik, making me think I'm a gadol, making me think I'm anything. I had to get this Yetzer Hara out. So what did I do? I told him, listen, I want to find this fee. And after all the embarrassment and the insults that I got, the Yetzer Hara not only ran away, he hasn't been back since. That's how tzaddikim are made. We see another person that doesn't have and we do, maybe we feel bad. Surely we feel good about ourselves. Surely we feel blessed. Surely we feel lucky. But how many times did we realize that what we have and what they need are there for a reason? I have, he doesn't, maybe I can think like a mini Zusha and help him a little bit more than I'm helping myself. This, Rabotai Kareem, is only a mindset that you can get to if you work on yourself day and night to the extent where you're trying to be pure. You're trying to purify your mind. You're trying to purify your eyes. You're trying to purify your heart. And to have such a heart that cares about others more than you care about yourself is not something attained at birth. It's not something attained naturally. It's not something attained with ease even. You have to work on it. Even if it's easy for you to give, usually that has its limits too. It's easy for you to give $100. No problem. But let's see if it's easy for you to give 500. Oh, it's easy for you to give 500. But let's see if it's easy for you to give 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000. I'm not talking about whether you have it or not. That's not in question. I'm talking about whether it's easy for you to give it when you do have it. And the reality is that you start seeing that, yeah, it's easy for me to give certain amounts because I don't even consider that amount a lot. But as soon as it gets to the point where that tzedakah hurts, that tzedakah is painful, that's when you realize that your own goodness has its limits. Doesn't make you bad, but it makes you realize there's more to work on. There's more to work on. We're never going to be Rabbi Zusha. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not asking us to be Rabbi Zusha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is asking us to be us. The best version of us. The best version of Sunny. The best version of Yeshua. The best version of Yaron. The best version of Ari. The best version of Moshe. The best version. That's it. That's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu is asking. He's not asking for anything more. Not a penny more. But I bet all of us that we could all be better than whatever we are right now. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. This, Rabotai Yekarim, is what the Ramban is trying to tell us here in regards to perfecting ourselves. Because if we think about things before they happen, rather than after they happen, before we do them, rather than after we do them, life changes tremendously. Life changes tremendously. Our minds change tremendously. We don't get ourselves into such dilemmas that we don't want to be in them. Rav Pinkus Alav Shalom used to say that the difference between a tzaddik and a rasha is like the difference between a bus and a taxi. So how so? He says the tzaddik is like the bus. He pays up front. He works hard up front, and then he enjoys the ride. The rasha looks like he's getting a free ride, but then he pays heavy at the end, like you do in a taxi. You go on a bus, you pay $2, $3, $4, $5, and then you can drive for hours if you want to. You enjoy the ride. The rasha the taxi doesn't take the money up front, only at the end. So it looks like he's driving for free. But in the end, he gets the real bill. If we analyze our actions like the tzaddikim, we may not necessarily be tzaddikim, we may not even be close to it yet. But if we start acting like them, doing certain things like they do, we can become them. If you start thinking about things ahead of time, not after, but before you say that word, before you write that check, before you go to that place, before you befriend that person, you think about things before. Rather than after, the payment, the damage, is going to be much, much less. Even the sins become much less, and the reward becomes much greater. Our minds will be purer. This is one of the greatest things that a Jew can do for themselves, as a favor for themselves. And a non-Jew also. I mean, these are all lessons that for humankind. And that, I think, is one of the greatest messages that the Ramban can leave us off with this week. There's a lot more to learn, but we'll continue it tomorrow, Be'ezrat Hashem, in our Stump the Rabbi Shul. We'll have some questions, we'll have some answers, there's some stories that we could talk about, but I think that we got to a good point. I think it's enough to think about, delve on, Be'ezrat Hashem, improve on, and continue tomorrow, Be'ezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'amen. Amen.